The fact that animals of power are symbols and not actual animals lies in the shamanic way of understanding how messages can go through. So in many occasions, you have, let's say, a particular animal of power, and actually it's a spirit guide that is forming the image of that animal for you, so you can understand the message through that animal. Obviously, this is frequent in shamanic groups. This is very normal amongst shamans and amongst people who are immersed in that culture. So let's say that we are a group of theosophic people in Switzerland, right? Normally, we are not going to understand messages through symbols of animals, through the images of animals. So if there's a dream, or if there's an astral projection, or if you see an animal, a spirit animal, that message is very unlikely to be 100% absorbed. It's gonna be very unlikely that those people will understand what a bear means or what an eagle means for them. But for the group of people who are experiencing shamanism, those who are living shamanism, they are more likely to understand when they see a turtle, or when they have a spiritual experience involving a horse or a rabbit. So the animals of power are normally symbols that you need in a specific time of your life. It's not about the animal, it's about the symbol. If you have an animal of power, you also have a mineral of power and a plant of power. So it's very important that if you are after your animal of power, if you want to discover your animal of power, you're not going to get that through meditation or filling out a questionnaire, or because you like the animal, that's your animal of power. Animal of power is just a message, right? It's a symbol that you need in that particular moment. In that case, this comes from the shamans, from those tribes who were to receive these messages through animals. So they would observe the animals in nature, and then those animals would show up to them as a message from their spirit guides. Spirit guides, who are normally humans, they will sometimes give you hints and signs of things in your dreams, in your deep meditations, in your states of trance, and they will form those images for you, right? So you can understand that. As I said, amongst shamans, or in a culture that experiences religion or spirituality in that particular way, they are very likely to receive these messages as symbols, animals, and things like that. But if you're a group of people in another religion, in another country, in another reality, you are to receive messages from people, or from a doctor, or from something else that you are accustomed to. Remember, spirits, they want to facilitate the message going through. They're not going to make something obscure or difficult for you to understand. So when you see an animal of power, normally in states of trance or deep meditation or astral travel, you are going to see thought forms. You're going to see something created with energy by spirit guides. If you are to receive that message, that symbol, in order to help you do something. Animals of power are very interesting, and they're quite similar to archetypes. Archetypes are idealized ideas of something. When you have an animal of power, which is also known as a totem, you have only the positive traits of the animal. So when we're talking about a turtle, right, as animal of power, you have a symbol of resilience and knowledge and constance. But when you have the archetype of a turtle, which doesn't belong to shamanism, it belongs to the studies of ideas and concepts, right? The turtle is actually neutral, right? So you have the same traits, right? Truth and knowledge and resilience, but you also have the traits of being slow, the traits of not doing much, less action. So archetypes are idealized ideas, the perfect idea, but it's whole, it's integral, right? the animal of power is always positive. Rabbit, let's say an animal of power, right, is a symbol of fertility and happiness and being smart. But in archetypes, they have these traits, but they also are easy prey, right? They're also physically weak. So that's a conspicuous difference between them. In order to know your animal of power, I mean, not everybody has an animal of power, because you only have the animal of power if you are dwelling in an environment where your main symbols for communication are animals. In order for you to know if you have an animal of power or that symbol being formed to help you, you have to get in touch with the shaman. You have to get in touch and experience life in shamanism for a while. So you can't find out just filling out questionnaires or because you like this animal or because you had a dream, right? Because they might be something else. When you talk about animal of power, we're talking about symbols, right? But there's also the possibility that you're actually seeing an animal, right? There are animals in the astral realm, so they could be like animals from a previous life or just symbols, really, or you can just experience some other forms of animals, and then they are not animals of power because they are not helping you in that particular time of life. Another thing is that when you have an animal of power, you are not going to have have the animal around you for your entire life. The symbol is just momentary. So you're going to be with that animal during your phase of needing, right? You need that kind of particular information. So if you need to be streetwise and smart and quick, a rabbit will show up, right? And then when you do what you have to do, when you perform what you had to perform, when you change, you no longer need the rabbit. So animal of power do exist, right? But they are not real animals. They are not spirits of animals. They are symbols that the spirits form to show you something. So in a tribe, right, you have many spirits, the clan, of spirits, and they will form those symbols for them to understand. I think that the whole idea of animal of power comes from shamanism, and we are trying to introduce these in our lives, living in the cities and doing other things, and we have better ways of communicating, right? Obviously, we love animals and we love animals of power, but let's not try to get these particularity from those tribes and from those clans, because they are doing that genuinely, and we are searching for animals of power when we don't live or experience that culture. So if you want to communicate with with another world or something, you can go to a spiritualist or spiritist group or theosophical group, and then you can see if you get messages in there. You can meditate, you can have your regression sessions, to find out about previous lives and things like that. You can always meditate deeply, astral projection, astral travel, study the caves and study the field, and you can communicate with that. And you can get a tarot deck as well and study and try to get messages. You don't necessarily need to have the message from the animal of power unless you are living within a shamanic environment, and that's all about you and your life.